What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the 20 Percenters podcast. I'm coming to you with Jason Phillips, the man, the myth, the legend, the creator, the founder of NCI, the Nutrition Coaching Institute, IN3 Nutrition, and we're here at the Level 1 seminar. Dude, the evolution in just the 6 months since I sat in on your course is... I mean, you continue to evolve, and you're doing it at such a rapid rate, man. I'm impressed.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it. I'll give you a spoiler alert here on your show, since I respect you and I love you guys so much. I haven't said this publicly, but IN3 is going away.
What?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
IN3 goes away inside the next month.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Why for?
So it needs to evolve.
Right.
So like you use the word, I've evolved a lot in the last 6 months. IN3 needs to evolve.
Okay.
The state of the coaching game is changing. The desire for the end consumer is changing. And what the consumer needs today is different than it was when IN3 was founded. And so we always want to lead that charge. And we always want to make sure that we're ahead of the curve. And so what you're going to see, I can't say what it's going to become, but you're going to see what we become embody exactly what the end consumer really needs today and for the next 5 years. And I believe there's two very distinct things that are going to happen in the next decade. And I think the first 5 years are going to be one set of things. It's going to be more a combination of education and coaching. And then I think like the following 5 years are very much going to be education.
Yeah.
And so you're starting to see this paradigm shift where, you know, in the last 10 years, individuals were very reliant upon coaches, right? There was no knowledge available. The knowledge that was out there was super confusing. And so they said, screw it, I'm going to go get a coach. Today, I think that, you know, as a whole, as an industry, we've done a pretty good job of cleaning that up, right? I think knowledge is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
It's definitely still confusing and conflicting, but it's getting better. And so you're starting to see the end consumer wise up and say, I don't want to be reliant upon a coach. I want to learn and I want to DIY, right? I want to do it for myself, and I don't want things that are just done for me. And so you'll start to see the evolution fuse the two. You're going to start to see us have our DFY, you know, our DFY models, done for you models, but we're also going to start providing DIY models. And so, you know, there's certain things that need to be encompassed in that. You know, 5-10 years ago, it was purely nutrition. You know, I talk a lot about this 3-dimensional model, frame, family, finance. And so you're starting to see people be receptive to that model. That's going to come into play. And so it's time to evolve. It's time to take a step forward. But I've never said that publicly. So you guys got the scoop first.
Inside scoop. That's what's up.
Yep.
That's awesome. And I think that speaks to, you open the seminar with, before you dive into the education, the overarching theme of this whole profession is connection. And it seems like you're really, with the evolution and things to come, you're really leaning into that.
100%. I mean, I think if you look at success in any industry, right? And I mean, I look at like the top podcasters, right? I look at, you know, the people that have been able to ascend. I mean, like there's the Joe Rogans that are like the anomalies, right? He doesn't really have to connect with you very much, but like, you know, you look at like Tom Bilyeu that came in and like Impact Theory jumped quick, right? You look at, you look at like anybody, it's all predicated on connection. It's like, how much do you resonate with that message? And then how much can that individual actually reach you? And, you know, listen, like the information is massively commoditized. You know, I mean, there's the digital space it's the Wild West. You know, anybody can put information online, try to sell it, try to promote it as fact. And most of the time it's opinion. And, you know, but that's okay. Like, you know, that's the world we live in. That's the freedom that we have as individuals. And I don't hate on that. But I think that, you know, the natural evolution is people are going to wise up to it and realize it's not always fact. It is sometimes opinion. And they need to understand what they're going to buy into, which is why I think there's a certain level of skepticism in the marketplace today.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right? I mean, I think people have been burned and people have seen things. So to overcome skepticism, you have to earn trust. And you know, the fundamentals of business is know, like, and trust. And so they know you, they probably even like you, but to really earn their trust, I think that comes inside of connection. And
right.
when you're in that one-on-one coaching journey, you really have to earn trust, because as we talk about in the seminars, like there's some difficult times, man. Like we're playing in an age where there's a lot of damage that has been done from previous dietary protocols, and to fix that, like it's, you know, one of the statements I made yesterday is, you know, somebody comes to me and they say they want to lose weight. And in one extreme instance, I had to take 20 months with an individual to gain weight before weight loss was ever possible. Right? And play that out at a $500 price point every month. That's $10,000. You're going to invest 10 grand with me to gain weight. If I don't earn your trust, you're never walking that journey with
100%,
me. Right?
Yeah.
That only happens through connection.
Yeah. You know, that's also something that showed up in the panel on Friday night. Number one, way to go on putting that cast of characters together.
That was fun, man.
Yeah.
Like that was a really good time, outside of me calling you by the wrong name.
I'm not.
So
Side note, as Jason was running for those of you that weren't there, as we were running intros, Jason called me Jeff.
I called him the other black guy.
The other black guy. Oh man, miss you, Jeff. But no, but I mean, you kept it rolling, and it turned out to be absolutely phenomenal. The wealth of knowledge, but at the same time, the willingness to sit there as a solid group of consummate professionals that approach this game from so many different angles, to, even if we respectfully disagree with somebody else's point, the thing that was just stood out to me was how we can sit there, agree to disagree, but also acknowledge that which I don't necessarily subscribe to can also exist with that which I believe.
Yeah, it was really cool to see, you know, I mean, six of us come from different places. We've all created success in a different manner. You know, we all have different viewpoints as to where things are going, and I think that's normal, and it should be. You know, I think that in a state today, you know, like we talked about, it's the Wild West, and people are so ego driven. You know, the one thing I always try to do is always try to add value, and I always try to make sure that I'm super open-minded, and, you know, I don't walk around. I try not to walk around with an ego at all. You know, I think to some degree everyone's got a little bit of one, right?
Sure.
So it's just it was cool to see, like, the amount of respect, the amount of value, and I believe with everything in me that the people that were in attendance walked out with, like, holy crap, like this is the real deal. Like I got a lot out of that.
I got a lot of text messages. I got a lot of feedback on social about the experience and how valuable it was.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's cool. I think that, you know, that was the first, and like we said, I mean, it was almost, we definitely didn't have big plans of that becoming like a thing like frequently, but you know, sometimes the best things happen on accident.
100%. Yeah.
And that's definitely something we'll be continuing with. So I think we'll see a lot more of those in the future.
It was really cool. Now, you know, speaking about the educated consumer, I've sat on panels like that before, and it's typically, you know, the run of the mill question is, you know, well, how'd you get your start? You know, like that surface level stuff. Yeah. You know, and another thing that stood out to me about the panel was the audience and the high level questions that they were asking.
Yeah, it definitely. So I don't know how you are going into events like that. I mean, I think that I never, like, everybody knows if they followed me at all, like, I don't prepare for shit, and like I just walk in and it's like, yo, this is who I am, and you're gonna get, you know, I have the ability to turn it on quickly, right? Oh, yeah. And like. And that's one of my just superpowers. Like you can put me in front of a room, I'm going to turn it on, I'm going to light you up. And like, so I don't really prepare, but in my head, like I was like, man, like there's going to be sales and marketing questions, cause I feel like that's the state. And there wasn't a lot of that. Like there was, it was cool to see. I felt like there was a lot of like personal development / business development type questions. Yeah. Which ironically, I think the panel was perfect for, because I think that's where we've all excelled so much. Like you know, when you look from like yourself to Sam to Jana to Cass to Travis and myself, like the evolution of our success all came from personal development, right? Like we all became better people before we became better business people.
Right.
And so it was cool to see those questions come out. Now, I don't know if it's like, hey, you followed our journeys and that's why you asked those questions, or like we just ended up in the right spot. Like I don't know which led to which, but it was definitely like very apropos for the situation.
And I think that also speaks to the state of the market now. And I think that people are really starting to realize, if you follow any of the six of us, or, Von Roth, what's up, brother? Shout out to Strong Coffee. We talk about the deep work, like if you want to play the long game, you got to fix yourself. You can't fix anyone if you haven't done the work on yourself.
100%, man. I mean, I think that's something that, inside our 3D model, I've dealt with so many successful business owners in the last year and a half, and I don't care if you're making, $20K a month or $200K a month. Like it really doesn't matter. You will burn it to the ground if you suck as a person. Right. Like if you're solely invested in the financial aspect of your business and you're ignoring your own personal health and you're ignoring the connection to other people in your life, you will burn that money to the ground. Like guaranteed. I've watched it time and time again. And I would rather you, if you're making $200K a month, step back and make $150K for 6 months, right? And strengthen your own personal resolve to be physically better, physiologically better, to strengthen the connections in your life. And I promise you that one step back will amplify, and all of a sudden you'll be making $1 million a month. Right. And people don't understand that connection. And I think that, again, looking at the pivot in our company, that's what I need people to understand, because I believe that's the future. And the six of us really exemplified that. Like we're ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Talking about making yourself a priority, when that question was asked, what do you do to take care of yourself? Or where do you make time? Everybody had a different answer. And I thought that was so cool, because there's a script out there in the universe, depending on the universe you create online and, who's telling you what. I'm going to get it out of the way first thing in the morning and then devote the rest of my day to everything else. You get it in where it fits in, because,
man.
You're on the grind. I feel like almost 24/7. You never fucking stop. We got here before 7 a.m. to make this happen today. And you got a full slate ahead of you. And then others are, I'm a buckle down, work on myself, buckle down. And then some people, I don't know how they do it. This is the complete opposite of me. They're like, I get everything done, and then I go take the tail end of my day for that.
Yeah, like I mean, and I go through phases. I think like there's times where I'm like, I'm gonna get it done in the morning. There's times where I get my stuff done. And I think that a lot of it is project specific for me too. Like right now, honestly, because I've been on the road so much, my biggest priority is just recovery. And that's something that I feel like so many entrepreneurs, so many people in general overlook. Listen, like, I took the last 2 days off the gym. I had every intention of going to the gym yesterday, but like we wrapped up and I'm like, nope, like I'm just cooked. I got nothing. And in the past, I would have forced myself. I would have been like, pre-workout, let's go. I'll find a way. I'll grind, and 10 shots of espresso, like whatever. And it does you no good because then you start resenting the process too, right? And it's twofold. Like physically, it's just not good for you, but mentally, like you start to resent the process. And last night, grabbed dinner, just got in bed. I think I was asleep before 9 o'clock. Got a full night's sleep, and that's where I'm like, okay, I'm 34. Like I'm getting wiser, right? Finally. Because had you met me 5-6 years ago, you would have met someone that was at the gym at midnight, right? I would have gone back. I would have written. I would have emailed. I would have done whatever I had to do. Right. And I would have literally been like, I'd have been at the 24-hour gym like overnight, and I would have been like, screw sleep. Like you don't need sleep. And you don't need sleep until you need all the sleep. Right. And it's and I found that out the hard way. I really did.
Tell me about that.
Man, it's interesting. I think everyone has to grind at some point.
Sure.
And so I don't want to like
say it's not necessary.
Shit on the grind.
Right.
Because I think there's two distinct camps, and I think they're both wrong.
Okay.
Right. Like I love Gary Vee. Right. He was one of my first influences. I've had dinner with the guy. Like he just man, like I wish I could be him. Like, I really wish I could exemplify more of what he does. But his message is hustle, hustle, hustle. And I think that that's wrong, because I think you only have to hustle until you can scale the hustle, until you can systemize the hustle.
Right.
And so for the longest time, that was my influence. And, there was a time where, everybody that's heard my story, I was broke, I was overdrawn on my bank account, like I had nothing, like life was at a standstill. And, I figured it out, I moved forward, but I moved forward with hustle, man. Like I was working with 167 clients per day, or at a time, and not per day, but like, I was literally on the phone 16 to 20 hours per day, which is absurd. Sure. Nobody should have to do that. But it was like, whatever. I was willing to do anything.
Sure.
And I look back now and I'm like, God, if I had tried to sustain that for 5 years, I would be dead.
Right.
Like not burned out, but probably dead.
Sure.
And so at some point you realize you have to systemize the hustle. But then there's the systems people that are like, you should never hustle. And it's like, no, that's bullshit too, because you don't get the option to systemize broke. Right? Broke doesn't need to scale and systemize.
Right.
You only get to systemize when you have a business that requires systems.
Sure.
So I think that both camps need to come together and understand it's an evolution. It's stacking things on top of one another. It's a process.
Right.
I'm not going to lie to anybody. Like, business is hard.
Yeah.
When you get in on the ground level, you got to work and you got to be willing to do things that other people won't. But at the top end of business, you still got to be willing to do things that other people won't.
Right. And I think that's a very interesting point to stand on for a little bit, in that, it comes in waves. There are things that are required, and no matter what systems you have in place, there are certain elements of your business that only you can take care of. And sometimes that requires the 24-hour day. Yep. Sometimes that requires 7 days a week. Yep. Sometimes that requires 20 days of the month on the fucking road.
Yep.
And when those waves hit, are you willing to stand the storm? And that's where a lot of people drop the ball. When you're confronted with whether or not you're willing, like let's say you have a vacation lined up and an opportunity shows up. It's like that hasn't presented itself before. It has established value and you don't know when it's going to show up again. Do you still take the weekend or do you jump on the opportunity?
You jump on the opportunity.
You know what I'm
every
saying?
Time.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But let's
rewind though. You don't get to take advantage of the opportunity if you haven't set your life up to take advantage of the opportunity.
I agree with that.
And so we look at three-dimensional model, right? If you haven't treated the people in your life with enough respect that they know that you need to go take advantage of this opportunity, right? If you're literally hanging by a thread in your marriage, and this, your marriage depends on this vacation, it's going to be really hard to jump on the opportunity.
Sure.
Because you're about to burn your marriage to the ground.
There you go.
So if you're living balanced up until this point, you jumping on the opportunity is actually relatively simple.
Sure.
And so I think that it's, we can't look at it as a solo event, because the decision you're going to make in that solo event is 100% predicated on what you've been doing leading up to that. Right.
Yeah.
And so, you could physically be burning the candle at both ends and you're like, I need this vacation. So all of a sudden it's difficult to jump on the opportunity.
Right.
But if you've been handling your body and your physiology in the right way, then all of a sudden you don't feel like you need this vacation and you're like, all right, let me jump on this opportunity and I'll reschedule my vacation.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think that's where, so many people they get to this point where it's like, I need that. And it's like I'm going on vacation Thursday this week, I'm going out to the Bahamas. And, one of the things is, if an opportunity jumped up Wednesday, number one, the people in my life would understand. And number two, I would I'm not wrecked to the point where I'm like, I have to go lay on the beach for 4 days. I would do it. And I, it would suck because I'm really looking forward to this. But listen, at the end of the day, my team will tell you I'm triple committed to making sure this shit happens.
Sure.
And, it's crazy that you say, the things that you have to do in business. One of the things I'm trying to figure out is how do you duplicate your superpower? And because that's the crazy thing to me, right? nobody can teach this course. Like Travis can teach it because he's intelligent. Nobody's going to bring the fire that I'm going to bring into this course. And I keep myself up some nights where I'm like, is it because I wrote the thing and like I founded this, that there's just like that level of passion, or is it like speaking is just a skill that I have?
Right.
And it's like, where am I going to find a speaker that has the knowledge? And it's like, that's super hard. Right.
Right.
And even in like the business coaching side, like how do you teach vision? Because one of the best things that I think I do in our business coaching group is like, and you've watched me do it. Put me in front of 50 people and you all tell me your business, and I'm going to like pick you apart and I'm going to like give you the vision in like 5 minutes. Right. And I don't know how that, like where that came from. Yeah. I didn't read that in the book. Like people are like, where'd you learn that? I don't fucking know. Like it comes to my head. Like I got nothing, and I wish I knew where that came from, but I don't. So how do you teach like your superpower?
That's a good question, man. I think that,
or do you?
You know, my initial response to that question is that you don't.
Right.
You live in that light, and that's where, going back to what we talked about on the panel on Friday night, outsourcing the rest. You know, there's always two camps, right? There's everybody that's like, oh, build your weaknesses, and then there's the other side that's like, double down on your strengths and outsource the rest. I'm on that side.
Yeah,
you know, I want to be me. I want to do the things I'm awesome at. I want to live in my flow, my creative genius. I want to do that thing, and for me, that's people. You know, my Rolodex is a mile long. You need a guy,
you have to,
or a girl. I got a guy or a girl for whatever. And like networking is my creative genius.
Sure.
And like that's what I want to do. That's kind of where the podcast thing came from for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've created my life around to facilitate me playing to my strengths. But at the same time, I think you have to give people the opportunity to play in theirs, and you build that team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's funny. I mean, like I look on the table, right? And we got like your book, and like, you know, I guarantee you like the actual production of your book, you're just like, okay, I wrote, you motherfuckers take care of the rest. Right? Like if I, like when I built this mentorship program, I had nothing in writing. People were like, what do I get? And I'm like, you get me for like 6 months. Like, shut up. Like you don't need anything in writing. You get me. Like that's all you need. Right. And then Cass comes in and she puts together like this beautiful book, and like, and it's great. And
when she was talking about like her organization style,
it's insane. I'm like, I wish.
I need one of you.
Yeah, like, right? And so I'll never be that person. And so, you know, I agree, like you just outsource. But I don't want that. Like I have zero desire in me to learn organization. Like I just don't care. I'm 34 years old. I haven't needed it to this point.
Yeah.
I've been able to get away with it. Like I've created millions of dollars of success. I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
There's people out there that can organize me. And my assistant will literally tell you, she's like, you don't need to know your schedule. I need to know your schedule.
Right.
And so like, you know, whenever I put a trip in my calendar, I just put it there and everything's done for me. And listen, like I had to bridge the gap when I was broke and building and, you know, but listen, when you're broke, your schedule's not that busy. Right, like people aren't knocking down your door, right? Otherwise, if they were, they'd be paying you.
Sure.
So it wasn't that hard.
That's something to acknowledge is your awareness, right? So yeah, you don't want to learn organization, but you have organized people.
Yeah, I understand the value of organization.
Yeah,
and like outsourcing it.
Yeah, and the other thing is like in the very fucking beginning, like this is the strategy of business. You know, you wear all the hats until you can afford not to.
And that's so important that you say that. I think there's so many gurus out there that are like outsource, and it's like, do you remember? Like, I think sometimes they forget, like when they started.
I remember mopping the floors at the fucking gym.
Yo, listen, I would still mop the floors of my office. You know what I mean? Like if that was the task required, and so would you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And that's the other thing. As a leader, you can never be afraid to do the shittiest job.
Right.
Right. Like I have zero like issues with, and listen, like this past week, we have a promo coming out this week, and someone's like, well, what if we get so many calls? And I'm like, great, like send them to me. I'm like, Mondays and Fridays in my calendar are completely open. Like I take Mondays and Fridays off for content.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll shut content down, just put them in my calendar and I'll close. Right. And they're like, dude, you don't sell anymore. And I'm like, motherfucker, I taught you how to sell. Like, you don't think I could sell? Like, put them in my fucking calendar. Like, you want to see 100% close rate? But at the end of the day, it's not about selling. It's like, I will do what needs to be done in my business. Like, you need me to step in and like write out the emails and like, you know, anything that I've ever outsourced. Like, number one, I think as a business owner, understanding how to do everything in your business is critical.
Sure. Not being the best at it.
No, but knowing how, because God forbid you wake up tomorrow, everyone in your business is like, you know what, Michael, peace out. Like, you better know how to keep that business operating. Right. And you better know how to train your staff that's coming in. Right. And so it's from the advertising to the marketing, to the selling, to the implementation, to, you know, and that took me a long time to understand, because I don't like tech shit. I don't like, you know, and I was like, I don't want to fucking learn. And then, you know, one of my mentors, Garrett White, was like, go learn. He's like, go at least have a comfortable grasp so that God forbid somebody quits overnight, you can implement. And that honestly, it's a breath of fresh air, because I know that if it's 2 a.m. and I need something done, number one, I don't want to wake my staff up to do it. Right. But it's like, I can go in, I can implement, and we can make it, you know, we can move forward. Yeah. Yeah.
Excuse me. The evolution that you've made up to this point, has it, you talked about vision earlier, has it always led to this? Like, does it, when 5 years ago, when you were negative 500 and you know, you were about to compromise the streak.
The streak almost ended.
Yeah. If you don't know about the streak, my man Jason has had what, 5 shots and 6 Splenda.
That's today. Normally it's just a regular marathoner, but we go 5 or 6 shots on certain weekends.
You've hit Starbucks every day for,
we're now 6+ years.
6+ years. And once upon a time, over Thanksgiving weekend, you were caught with negative 500 in your account.
Negative is negative $27.05.
Negative 27. Okay. Yep. I like big fish stories. It makes it better.
Well, the only reason I got out of it was like a $500
there
check
it is.
Cleared.
Okay. Yeah. You know, and you've been on the hustle ever since. I feel like that was in your words, your get your shit together moment.
Yeah.
When you made that decision to just get on it, does it look, as we sit here today, is this what it looked like?
No. Like I had zero vision of this. Like in moments of despair like that, vision only comes one step at a time. And so, you know, it's in that moment I knew one thing. I knew I had one gift to bring to the world, and that was to help people. And I literally was at rock bottom, and I was like, it cannot get worse. So I can either go back to the life that I hate, which is the corporate grind and probably getting fired from 10 more jobs, or I can just go help people and see if I can make money doing it. And so I went home from that trip, and, you know, with very little money to my name at that point, and was like, I'm just gonna help people and see what comes of it. And it was a very pure mission to help as many people as possible. I never in my wildest dreams thought that action would lead to millions of dollars in revenue, right? Like, never. And it was rooted in impact. And this is why we always tell all of our business coaching clients, impact over income, because I led with impact, and the income came. And so now, you know, full transparency, where we're at scale, you have to think about income. Right? You have a staff, you have things you have to pay for, but we always, like, internally we check each other. And when we say something and we talk about the potential revenue from it, someone's like, what's the impact of that? And that's what I love about the culture I've built. My team will literally be like, how is that helping somebody? Right? And that's dope. Yeah. Because this was never the vision. I think as you evolve, you gain more vision, you gain more clarity, you see things, you see more opportunity, which, as I said in the panel on Friday, is a gift and a curse. I think entrepreneurs that create initial success start to operate with this crazy vision. They're like, oh my God, I could do this. Oh my God, I could do, and you have a case study that you're like, yo, I'm successful. So because I'm successful, I can now pay it. Like, I can take that success, like parlay it into virtually any industry and be like, yo, watch this. Like, I'm like, cause I've said it before, like, I believe with the skill set I've developed, you could drop me into any industry, hair, nails, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
I will flip the shit on its head and I will wreck shit. Right. Like, because I fundamentally believe that like the skill set needed to be successful is the exact same. I don't care what industry you're in.
I've heard multiple, like a lot of investors think that way.
Yeah. And I think that you have to, because you literally see a very like binary system.
Yep, absolutely.
Right. It's a series of yeses and nos. And so I don't think it's that difficult once you get there. So no, man, like I don't think it was the vision, but each piece allows me to operate with a little more vision.
Yeah.
And here we are today. Like, if you would have asked me 3 months ago, are you going to shut down IN3? I would have said no.
Sure.
But I woke up, like, dead serious, bro. I woke up like 2 weeks ago with this thought, and I'm like, and I'm very much like, I don't want to say I have voices in my head, but like, I kind of do. I'm kind of fucked up, right? Like, I'm kind of weird like that. Like, I woke up and I had a voice, and it said, this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
And I act on shit like that. Like, I if you ask my team, one of the things, I got up their ass on Thursday, and they'll tell you, I very much live by ready, fire, aim. And I told my team, you're aiming too much. I need triggers pulled.
Yeah.
And I don't care if you fucking pull a trigger and there's friendly fire and like, someone gets shot in the leg. Like, it is what it is. Like, we'll bandage the shit up. We'll pull the bullet out. We'll move forward. Like, it is a war zone all the time. And especially where you and I are at, right? And people don't understand this about business. Like, we've ascended to what I believe to be a middle-sized business. We're not a big business,
right?
But I think we're outside of startup mode. Sure. Startups are the best because you have no risk, right? You're just playing with house money all the time, and you're hungry as fuck. And you are picking off those middle-sized businesses all the time, like you're nipping at their heels, right? But in the middle size, you've got the startups nipping at your heels, but you've got the big businesses that are ready to pounce on you, and they can outspend you, and they can outwork you because they just have the manpower.
They've got the scale.
And so that middle ground sucks, right? Like, it is the worst place, and you either need to get there and decide that you're going big, or you need to like shrivel up and go small again. Right. I don't want to go small. Sure. So I want to fucking evolve quickly. So I told my team, I'm like, listen, if we're going to fucking be on this battleground and like we're going to live there, we're not just going to have like these massive guns in our hands and not pull the triggers. Sure. Like, we're pulling triggers. Right. And it might be wrong. That's okay. Right. Like, you can fix wrong. You cannot fix not done. Right. Right. And so I'm very much on like action. And so I'm huge on that.
Because that's very ballsy to empower your staff that way and give them the freedom to fuck up. Yeah. Right? Yeah. How long did it take you to build that trust?
A long time. Yeah.
Because from the top down, right? And I've experienced this in my organization. When you say that, they're like, do you really mean it?
Like, oh, no. Like, my staff knows now I mean it.
Right, because they respect you enough that
they don't want to fuck up for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. You got to make sure that they know they're playing with house money, right? Because it's not their money they're playing with. It's my money they're playing with. You definitely have to empower your team properly. And so I think that part of the reason triggers don't get pulled is exactly what you said, right? They're afraid they're going to upset you. So... I'm a control freak, in case anybody can't figure that out. Like, and so, when I had all these clients, so my CEO now started as my personal assistant, and I was paying her $500 a month. Like, it was super low key. Like, I had no clue like what I was getting into, and it was she literally had to come in and take things from me. Yeah, like, I wouldn't outsource. Right. And so finally she was like, I'm doing this. Yeah. I'm doing this. And like, that's why I knew it was always going to work with her. And that's why she's the CEO of my companies. Yeah. Right. Like, she literally, so I have a parent company, Jason Phillips Industries, and then I have different companies underneath that. Yeah. She is the CEO of Jason Phillips Industries. And so she, that was how it happened. I didn't do it. She just made it happen. Right. But that's what allowed the trust to happen. Yeah. That's what allowed, like, you can come in. that's what allowed like the trust to evolve, because I watched, hey, somebody's not going to fuck with my money. Somebody's not going to fuck up my company. And it was kind of like trial by fire, to be completely honest. I had to learn, because I had been burned by my assistant before, who completely fucked up. Right. And so like, you know, and the same as like scaling coaching, you know, I think I told the story before, like I hired Brandy as my first coach. If she didn't do a good job as a coach, I would not be here today. 100%. Because the first person that works for you sets the tone. And if she had completely shit the bed, do you think I would really be willing to outsource clients under my own name to get results and have a team of fuck ups? Like, no. So like, seriously, I'm forever indebted to her. Like she's an amazing person, amazing coach. She's been loyal to my brand forever. And so it's I'm massively thankful for the people that stepped up and did that. And more credit to them as the employees than me, the leader. Right? I think they've made me the leader I am today.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But at that time, I suck shit as a leader.
Dude, I tell you, that's so dope that you say that. Because, you know, when we were, you know, rated the #1 CrossFit box in America in 2017 by Men's Journal, like I wasn't coaching a shit ton back then. That's not a testament to me. You know, when you look at our Google reviews and stuff like that, they might mention me once or twice, but it's, you know, it was Caleb, it was Caitlin, it was Daryl, it was Laura, it was Nate, it was Allie. You know, it's not about me anymore. It's not about you anymore. Like we have transcended that impact down the line, you know, and like you said, like I'm forever indebted because I put it together, but I didn't do it.
100%.
You know,
100%. I mean? Like you're the glue that will always hold it together, but you're not the one applying every day, and you can't be. Like you just cannot be.
Like if all those reviews had my name on them,
if you had to be the one doing it, you're in trouble.
Totally. Like, I would. But no,
you would not be building a business.
You'd
be building a job that has a very short shelf life.
Absolutely. So I'm ultra impressed with everything that you put together, man.
I appreciate that, man.
The principles that I stand on for 20%ers, you know, focus on what matters: health, wealth, relationships, and time.
That's it.
And how to establish, you know, balance, if there is such a thing. You know,
I still question that at times, but I think that the model, like the principles that we live true to, there has to be balance across multiple dimensions. I don't necessarily understand, like, I don't think balance is what the public makes it out to be, right? But I think that you have to be pursuing success in every dimension.
Sure, 100%. And when it comes to mentorship, came up a lot on the panel. When did you discover that you needed mentors?
Honestly, that's something I've known from day one.
Okay.
Yeah, like
You've had a coach your whole life?
Yeah, like since I was 18, right?
Okay.
Like, so when I overcoming anorexia, I had somebody helping me. And ever since then, I've always known there's somebody that's done it. And I just like, why am I going to fucking go? Like, I was not like an academic. I was not somebody that enjoyed picking up a textbook. Like people that, you know, that know me, they know I don't really read. Like, I just don't like picking up a textbook. And I'm like, I just want to learn from you. Like, I want to watch, and you clearly have done this. You've clearly created success. And like, why am I not just mimicking that? And you know, I've always had this innate belief, if it's been done before, it can be done again. And I said on another podcast on Friday, you know, it's like the 4-minute mile. Like, you know, nobody thought it was possible. And all of a sudden one motherfucker does it. And like the next week, like 100 people did it. Like, if it's been done, it can be done again. Like, you know, Bill Gates created billions of dollars. Warren Buffett created billions. Tom Bilyeu created billions. Like, why can't we create billions? We can. Like, we absolutely can. You know, as soon as, honestly, like, I feel like, because we were like one of the first $1 million nutrition coaching businesses. And I feel like we broke that seal. You know, so we did it, and people are like, well, you know, Jason and I and 3 are $1 million business. Like, why can't we be? And that's dope. Like, I love that. So honestly, man, it's something I've innately done since I started.
It's funny because as people get into that startup mode, you know, they think that they lead themselves to believe that they have to do it on their own, by their own means, and make the mistakes. And I steer people, that I consult with away from that as fast as fucking possible.
I agree.
Like, don't wait till you need the mentorship.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. And I think so too, man. I think it's like, why learn from your own mistakes when you can learn from the mistakes of other successful people?
Oh yeah. I fucked it up.
Oh yeah.
A bunch of ways. You know what I mean?
Even when I had mentors, I fucked it up. But I also think that mentorship is not a crutch. And
No.
I think that a lot of people, oh, you're good. Come in. We got people keeping like walking through because we're right in front of the cert. But, I think a lot of people hire a mentor and then they don't take action and then they blame the mentor.
Right.
And full transparency, I did that shit. Right. Like I hired a mentor one time and I thought that just paying the price of entry into the mentorship was my ticket to success. I'm like, this guy coaches 6 and 7 figure earners. And
success by osmosis.
Yeah. So I'm just going to give him $1,000 a month and like, I'm going to be a millionaire.
Right.
And like, no, like that was my ticket to get on the field. Like now I got to play,
right.
Now I need to play the game. And so, my first mentorship experience was a massive failure and that's cool too, because it was a learning experience.
Right.
And so, I think that me learning that has made me a better mentor for people.
Yeah.
Because I now get to set the frame when people come into to my business.
We're not going to do this if you're
right. Like, hey, listen, you spending the money is just your ticket to entry. Now you get to really put yourself to the fire.
Yeah. There's no such thing as success by association. No. Like you've got to play the game.
Yeah. And I mean, that being said, of course you want a great network, but listen, when you depart from that network, it's you and you. Right. And like you in a hotel room and you putting like, you got to get the work done.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Again, it just comes back to, are you willing? Do you have to? No. Are you willing? No.
Do you have to be a millionaire in this life? No. Do you have to create success in this life? No. Do you have to create impact in this life? No. But are you willing to?
Right.
Dope. If you want it, you better be willing to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like plain and simple. If you want it, you better be willing to do the work.
That's it, man.
Because it's a hungrier society. It is a hungrier crowd. It is a hungrier. Oh no, you're good. But it is just a hungrier group of people. Yeah. Right. Like and entrepreneurism, I guess is the word, is it's becoming romanticized every day. And so you're starting to see our culture pivot towards hungrier people. I had a conversation with someone the other day about like, are you going to send your kid to college? I don't know. Yeah. Like, I really don't know. I number one, I mean, we're 2019. Like my daughter won't go to college and you know what? Our daughters aren't going to go until
2036. Yeah.
2036-ish. Right. So, I mean, what is the state of institutionalized education at that point? It might be completely different at that point. So, it's not even something I run through my mind at this point, but I think it's going to be completely different. So, and it's just a paradigm shift that's happening in the world.
Yeah, I mean, with the access to information, the access to education, And
I hope that we're leading that charge. Like, I really do. I really hope that, like, if there's going to be this shift, that we can show people from real life experience, this is how you get there. Right. And that's kind of cool. Like, that's exciting.
Sure. No, absolutely. And I think that the exposure to the way that we've done it, I mean, we've been to school, and then we went on and created. It's not that education isn't valuable, but it's not always necessary given education in another direction.
100%. Completely agree.
It doesn't have to be school, but you still need to get smart.
You got to get smart, right? Yeah. I think that's a great way to say it. You got to get education at some point, right? Yeah. Whether it's real life, like whether it's School of Hard Knocks, whether it's university, whatever.
I mean, I look at my degree in health and human performance, my undergrad, as a trade. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a huge proponent of learning a trade. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I can start this thing over with my skill set 10 times if I had to. You know what I mean? Because
like I said,
I have a trade.
And that's the thing. Like,
it's not going to business.
You literally could strip it all from me and I could be successful in 6 months. Right. Like, I firmly believe that. Yeah. And that's the most comforting thing I have. It's also what allows me to play with the freedom that I play with. Right. Like, a lot of people are like, man, you make some ballsy moves. And I'm like, sure. Like, but I've got ultimate freedom. I just, that self-confidence, that self-awareness, that knowledge of like, we can do anything. And it's more of a belief, right?
Sure.
Like I firmly believe we can do anything we want. And honestly, like, you know, we're going to walk in, there's 30 people in the room. They can all do anything they want.
Right.
If I, at the end of the weekend, can empower them to believe that and truly, like, in their heart believe it,
Right.
not like say it and like half-ass it, but like,
Right.
you know, deep, like inside, bro, like that's it.
You're unstoppable.
Like the game changes.
Yeah.
It really does. And no amount of money will instill that. No amount of success will instill that. Like that's that. Because a lot of people get successful on a house of cards and they go to bed every night worrying, like, when is it going to go away? So it's not a tangible thing. Like
Right.
it's very much an intrinsic thing.
And you've heard that from the guys and girls out there that have fucking lost it all,
Yeah.
only to rebuild it
Yeah.
faster than it took them to
Yeah.
build the first thing.
Absolutely.
You know, so
Because a lot of times you build on something that's completely flawed, and I've watched it, right?
Yeah.
I've partially done it at times, right? Like you build on a flaw, that's okay.
Oh, yeah,
there's
absolutely.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if you built success once, you have the tools,
Right.
Right? Like
Yeah.
you just need to make sure you're using them the correct way.
Yeah, it's not mistakes; they're lessons. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Amen.
And
Amen.
you got to be willing to reframe it that way.
Yes,
you know?
sir.
And I think that's what entrepreneurs are at heart. We are masters at reframing.
Amen.
You know, it's like, ugh, okay, I'm gonna eat that one. Okay, let's keep it moving.
That's it. You got to keep going no matter what.
So, dude, I appreciate everything that you bring to the table. I'm honored and humbled to have been sitting on that fucking panel.
man, I
When got
appreciate
the
you.
call-
I'm
when I
honored
got
that
the
you're up
call,
there.
I was like, okay. Like, and then I saw the names. I was like, ooh, okay, let's go. You know?
Yeah, no, dude, that's dope. I mean, it's an honor to have you up there, and you know, I know we're gonna continue to do more of them, and you know, I'm the same, man. I appreciate opportunity. I appreciate the right people in this world, and you know, as we move forward, and you know, as we evolve and we create success, I think there's some fundamental that, you know, we both know we're gonna play at the top.
Absolutely.
And I think that I don't want to be at the top with the wrong people.
Right.
And so it's always fun to run this journey knowing that we're doing it with the people that we should be doing it with.
Right.
And that's everything to me, man.
For sure.
So
For sure.
massively appreciative of you.
That's that inner circle.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. For my 20%ers new to the show and new to you, where do they need to find and support everything that you got going
so
on?
right now, in3nutrition.com, you know, as that evolves, it'll redirect to where we're going, or nutritionalcoachinginstitute.com. You know, for me personally, just Jason Phillips on Facebook, Jason Phillips _IN3 on Instagram. Pretty easy person to get a hold of. I'm not that popular, so.
But you're known.
That's, you know what? That's the truth though, right? I'm all right. I'll take being known over having the big following all day.
There you go. There you go. Hey, you guys support everything that NCI has going on. Jason is on the rise. You know, if you ask him, he hasn't arrived yet. So really looking forward to whatever the next thing is. So stand by for that announcement. And, you know, as always, focus on the things that matter: health, wealth, relationships, and time. And we'll see you next time. Later.